You told me something about myself yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And that's me, bitterness. Because that was one of the topics we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, my bitterness is not per se to other people. I have a bitterness towards myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I guess that lined up with the fact that you made me realize that that is where me not being happy with myself lines up with that. Because, like, I'm 37 years old. I'm going to be 38.
Mm-hmm.
I just got married the other day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be a mom so bad. I want my business to flourish.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much things that, and then coming up in the culture that I was raised in, it doesn't help when you have parents who expected you to be in a specific space in your life,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not there because you made choices that you thought were for your happiness. I think, like, dang, did I make a mistake? Should I have? So I question myself a lot. And I beat up myself a lot. So that was something I got to reveal about myself. Well, you revealed it, and you said it's not from God, but it's something you noticed.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. The crazy thing is that fear that Marie talked about last night, that fear that your cultural background puts on you,
Mm-hmm.
like God is who's doing this to you.
Mm-hmm.
God is who's making you go through these things because you went against what He might have had in plans for you. So it's like all these things. So it's just to say, the breakthrough is this. I'm going to selfishly seek out how to find my happiness.
Mm-hmm.
I will do things that make me happy.
Mm-hmm.
I will stop thinking about how other people will feel if I step away from situations.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're good. But deep down inside, I want to jump off a bridge. And I can't afford to jump off a bridge because I want to create life and I want to build a life with you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so thank you for speaking, and thank you for being honest with that.
Self-bitterness is a thing. It's a real thing. I also think that you have to get rid of timelines.
Yeah.
Right? And an expectation that things need to be done at a specific time as far as like where you are in life. And like, for example, a business, right? That things you should have had a multi-million-dollar, I'm just using this as an example, multi-million-dollar business by now, or you should be a mom of 2 by now, whatever the case is, right? Whatever number you have, I think that is dangerous sometimes. Not that we shouldn't have goals, but when we have an expectation of how our lives should have been, I think we kind of limit God in a sense to say, well, if it didn't happen, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's also saying that, well, God, your purpose for my life is not enough.
Yeah.
Right? So, for example, you said you got married now in your late 30s, right? What if that was God's purpose?
Yeah.
So would you prefer your timeline or God's purpose?
Well, then I would prefer to be operating in God's time.
That's what I'm saying. So now because you know that when you're operating in God's timeline, you're also operating in His purpose, and in His will, and in His design for your life. Mm-hmm. And with everyone's life is different, right? Yeah. So somebody else's life, their design is to be married at 22. I say that because we have to err on the side of caution when it comes to setting these timelines for ourselves.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it comes off as, well, if I don't have a child today, then that means I'm never going to have it. Well, what if God's purpose and what if God's will for your life is for you to have it at 40? We don't know that, right?
Yeah.
And although we would like it to happen at a specific time, God's will is for it to happen at this time.
Yeah.
For the most part, waiting sucks.
True.
But if we're true and we're honest in saying, well, God, I prefer to be operating under your purpose and under your timeline, then my timeline now has to go out the window.
Yeah.
Once you start getting to the mode of saying to yourself, all right,
God's will.
I'm in God's will.
God's will,
Everything
not
that
mine.
has happened in my life has been designed by God. Now,
Yeah.
that's not to say that things haven't been self-inflicted. Yes, that is true as well. But at the same time, God uses those things. And if we're to say that he's the almighty God, then we're also to believe that he can use these things.
Yeah.
He can use this time. He can use my mistakes and flip them for good.
Yeah.
Self-bitterness is oftentimes overlooked because most people won't think of that as quote-unquote bitterness because it's self.
Yeah.
When you think of bitterness, you're always thinking of bitterness towards somebody else.
Yeah.
Once you become free from that, it'll help alleviate a lot of unnecessary pressure that you
Put
set
on
on yourself.
myself.
And just have grace for yourself too.
Mm-hmm.
Grace is not just for everyone else, it's also for you.
Yeah.